So friends, with that, I just want to open it up for any questions that you may have to Rajiv. Rajiv has been, it is a very, very candid and honest presentation, and lots of learnings. I'm pretty sure that, people will have lots of questions. I don't know how much time we will have, but I'll try my best to make sure that, we will answer some of the queries what the group may have. So maybe if I can just probably take the liberty of being the quote unquote default moderator of this particular group, I want to request a special guest, Rupa, if she has any questions first before we can open it up for others.
Sorry. No. I'm just digesting everything that Rajiv said. So you can ask somebody else to ask the questions.
All right. Anybody else?
I'll go. This is Vivek here. Fantastic tour of all the rishis and all the I want to go to each and every one of them, having heard it. Is there two questions? One sort of lighthearted one. Is there a weight limit to levitation? Because I'm 110 kilos, man. Second one is how do you apply the lessons and the knowledge in your work? Your role is to market. You're the head of marketing at Honda. How do you promote conscientious and appropriate consumption, even as a marketing guru, as a given all this?
Okay. So the first one, that levitation, I think it's got absolutely zero correlation with weight. So I can promise you, if you meditate and do the siddhi properly, you'll definitely fly at least half of it, if not more. And see, as far as applying marketing and sales, I have currently a boss who's from production side, and he says if you do A and B, the result will be C. So, but in sales and marketing, it doesn't work like that. You did A and B yesterday, you got C. You did 2A plus 2B, maybe you will get minus C, because one thing you don't determine is customer. So I think one thing that this path has taught me and is to keep, my nerves okay, because when you spend advertising monies, you spend promotion monies, and it runs into crores of rupees a month, then you are accountable. And sometimes you don't have the answer. So, I can't tell them, yaar, ye to mera kaam to karam karna hai. I mean, I can't tell that to my bosses, but at least I can keep my nerves calm. And second thing is that, I think in any organization, there are lots of politics. There's a lot of, toxicity. There's a lot of, people who are working, against what you want to do. So I think this path gives you the ability to look at things from little bit of a distance. Because if you look too closely, then even the small thing looks so big, and then, you can't operate. So these two things, I think, really help.
Can I ask something?
Go ahead.
That's Abhishek, yeah.
So, Mama, the thing that I've experienced over the last 15 years on my path is that there are so many pitfalls on the spiritual path. I mean, you do everything and then also fear comes up. So to get rid of that pitfall, you have to create your own hacks. And for all those hacks, as you mentioned, you have to read a lot. Currently, I'm reading Sanskrit and Upanishad and all those things, but that is not for everyone. Like my wife, she hates those things and she discourages me to do that. She thinks that those are very obscure things and maybe, so the thing is that I'm able to do that. I'm able to find my hacks, although it's a very arduous journey daily because of the past, because of the culture that I was in, because of the people, although I've gotten some good things and some bad things. So for a, seeker who is not so intense in studying and probably discovering everything and so curious, how to get out of that pitfall?
See, I think firstly, one should not be in any hurry. The more you read, sometimes हमें लगता है यार, we have to live for 70, 80 years. 35, 40 चले गए या 50 चले गए, अभी तो बहुत कम है, अब I have to run faster. And it might be, for somebody else we love so much, oh, this person is lagging behind us. So I think firstly we have to say that बहुत time है, कई lifetimes हैं, एक नहीं 10, 15, 20, 50, 1 लाख भी हो सकते हैं. And I'll give you one example, Abhishek. The first time I went to Osho's ashram, okay, and I was with my dad, and we were we were in Pune and we had to go to Mumbai to catch a flight. So I said, मुझे अभी देखना है, मुझे अभी. He said, नहीं अभी बंद है. I said, नहीं मैं इतनी दूर से आया हूँ, and he says, no, it's closed, you have to wait half an hour. I said, नहीं मेरी flight miss हो जाएगी. So the very evolved guy, he says, यार अगर खुला भी होगा तो भी तुम्हें कुछ नहीं मिलेगा, तुम इतना जल्दी में हो. So firstly, what I feel is that if you are talking about yourself or your wife, if you're talking about yourself, I think it's very important to keep continuing, keep trying, and try till you succeed, as you rightly said. And I also believe that there are pitfalls, but I think one thing that works is surrender. And surrender only happens, when you try everything and then you say, yaar, ab nahi hoga. It's a very different feeling. I'm sure all of us go through either in work life or personal life. And when you are able to put your guard down, ki boss, ab tu sambhal le. I think that is the moment. And let's say, for a wife who says, this is, she doesn't like, but maybe she's more evolved than you. Maybe you need more medicine than her. We don't know, right? Because as I said, we are all going to create that $1 billion enterprise that can measure our spiritual evolution and how far we are and how many lifetimes it will take. So I think that's not something we should worry about, and we should allow every person to make his or her own path.
Hi Rajiv, Ajay here. Fantastic presentation. You more than lived up to my expectation. I mean, you've got a very rich spiritual sort of history, if you will. So my question to you is to do with the gurus, the three of them you mentioned, and I've been a bit skeptical about gurus who, at least from the outside, appear somewhat commercial, if you know what I mean. And the question that kind of comes to me is that how earnest they are, and I'm not making any judgment here, and do they in a way sort of create some sort of a class divide, in the sense that there are only a certain sort of fortunate or privileged few who have the means to be able to access them?
Okay, so I think this is a question me and VP discuss very often. So when he came one time to my home in Mumbai, and I showed him, he may have forgotten and I can't see his face. So I showed him, Sadhguru's trip to Mansarovar. And, when they were taking dip in the river, people going like this, and he says, Goops, enough, yaar, ye ab main nahi dekh paunga. I don't know, VP, if you remember that. Okay, so my answer to that is very simple. Whether the guy is enlightened or not enlightened, as I said, maybe it will take me one lifetime or multiple lifetimes to figure out, whether these pomp and show and Rolls Royce and 10, 20,000, 30,000 crore properties, because, we think that that guy should be very selfless. So my take, and because there's a recording out here and, but I will still say, my take is that let's think about उसके पास जितना भी है वो मुझे क्या दे सकता है. मतलब if he is at 8 and he is not at 10, मैं तो यार -5 पे हूं ना, मुझे तो शायद 0 पे ले आएगा, या मैं 2 पे हूं तो शायद 3 पे ले आएगा, वो नहीं लाएगा तो कोई और ले आएगा. So I don't think I'm looking for that perfect master who meets all the check charts and all the criteria that we have and says ये वाला सही है, because जो सही है वो हो सकता है आपके लिए हो ही ना. And yes, these pomp and show sometimes turn you off. And my take is sometimes and that's what they believe in my community, that Lakshmi ji को संभालना आसान नहीं होता. लक्ष्मी जी की जो गर्मी होती है ना, वो इसको ब्लास्ट कर देती है, वो बहुत कुछ कर देती है. So sometimes maybe they were just about to get enlightened, and then you have millions of people, you can do so many things. Maybe you just missed that point. You get what I'm saying? You were just about to get there, and you had power, people bowing down to you, but you're in human form. तो आप वो last leg को शायद नहीं clear कर पाए, but मेरे से तो आगे है ना.
Yeah, and also And also, Rajiv, to your point, right? Ajay, I also want to add one thing. My experience has also been similar, but after a period of time, I changed my perspective. And here is what is it is, right? There is this when we listened to Mahesh's presentation last week, he talked about action and inaction and inaction in action, right? So some of these quote unquote gurus who are quote unquote rich with billions of rupees and crores of rupees or whatever, right, dollars or whatever, right? you know for all you might know, they could be belonging to either of the two categories. They are probably not cleared that last step, like what Rajiv is talking about, or they may be actually doing inaction in action. So we don't know that. And to Rajiv's point, and at the end of the day, you got to take what you think you need at this point of time, and then point A to point B, and then find the next one.
See, because I of course we can talk offline, but I've seen there was a Mastaram Baba. I was a very small kid. My dad and my cousin of Rishikesh took me there. He had just, I mean, he was half inside, that whatever you dig inside the just behind, that cross the Ram Jhula. 5-7 लोग बैठे थे, तो वो भी तो impressive नहीं लगता हमारे को. Ultimately, we are humans, no, we have our own filters. You get my point. So somebody very unassuming I gave the example of Shirdi Sai Baba. यार ये क्या है, ये मुझे क्या सिखाएगा? So, but yes, to really find that enlightened master who meets our criteria and he works for, and that method works for me, and we have established a connection. उसमें तो यार, मतलब if it will take, yeah, that's the point.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, it's got to resonate with you. Whatever. There are so many parts in this.
We've got 4 more minutes. Any more questions?
Hey, Rajesh, I just want to point out people were raising hands as well, but we went a little bit out of sequence. But so hey, Rajiv, thanks a lot for the wonderful presentation. You actually showed it's not important to go through the exact sequence, and there's probably no exact sequence as long as you kind of learn everything, and our mind probably maps it eventually in that sequence. So that's very good way of showing that. I had a follow-up on that same thing about the guru. One of your slides said you'll be lucky if you find if a guru finds you, which is quite profound. But there are other slides that also talked about there are many gurus, and all of us here are I mean, I look at all the friends as gurus too, our parents as gurus too, and so on and so forth. So in most people's life, we are found by many gurus, is what I think. So wouldn't it be, that somebody who has many gurus is more luckier than someone who has that one guru, who has been found by that one guru?
Okay, so Arun, if you feel that, if you feel comfortable with that, and you're comfortable in your journey that I have multiple gurus and some of them are co-seekers and they may not be enlightened, absolutely fine. But here what we are talking about is the Guru Shishya Parampara. Where the Guru says, मैंने तेरे सर पे हाथ रखा, तूने मेरे सारी जिंदगी सेवा करी है, you're great, enlightenment हो गया. So we are saying about when there is a concept like that when you serve the master, and if you take Brahman and Saraswati who at the age of 8 left, or you see Maharshi Ji, see these guys have done penance, they've served the Guru for so many years. So that whole discussion of one Guru is in the context of the Guru giving you grace in the Guru Shishya Parampara. That's one. And if you can allow Jaya to speak, like I know for sure, I've been with interacting with her for so many years. I think she has found the Guru. She has no doubt. She has no questions. I mean, and I can see the transformation in her and the events in her life. So the point is that there are all those, this is in that context, Arun. So if you and it's also that for anything and everything, that Guruji is there with you. And he's the same guy to whom you pray, to whom you look up to when you're in a crisis. He's the same chap whose method you learn, or whose sort of programs you attend or things you read. So it is in that context. Some people are lucky, as I say. कई बार तो एक बार में हो जाता है, कई बार सारी जिंदगी निकल जाता है.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point. So you're lucky to be found by that guru. I think one other thing is, we should learn what the guru has learned, right? And then go
Yeah.
beyond that by sometimes also challenging the guru. And I think you had one slide that said, where the mentor could potentially become the mentor. Like Buddha had a guru, and eventually he became the guru to his guru
Yep. Right.
later in his life. So I think good, good. Thank you. Thanks for putting this together. Excellent.
Thank you.
So guys, I see that the Singapore folks are still awake, so maybe we can take a few more minutes to to ask some questions to Rajiv and to this group. So we will again, by the power vested in me by this group, I am going to extend for another 10 more minutes.
Rajiv, this is Kishore.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah.
Oh yeah, thank you, Arun, and Shaili. Rajiv, I had a question. So you were exposed to these different lineages, traditions, if you will. Did you get a sense that they all kind of point to the same thing, or is it rooted in this case, in the three traditions you were exposed to? Are they all rooted in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali and yoga um, in the broader sense?
So I, in a very crude way, what I feel is, when you make a cocktail, okay, you add different proportions of the different things, but they are ultimately, either a juice or a, soda or a ice or a liquor. So it's a very crude way, but here what I want to say is that each of them will have components of asana, pranayam, and meditation, dhyana. These three are, of course, yam, name, and all that you can say. So this is firstly, so when I use this crude example of cocktail, some will have more, bias for one of the three, and one will be a lead indicator and or a, lead function and a following function. That's one point. But one thing for sure, whatever meditation techniques I have experienced, and the ones I did not want to learn because I thought I must, have just remain a little bit away from insanity. Like I wanted to go for Vipassana, but I left it. Ultimately, it is only all meditation techniques to me look very similar. You know, especially the ones with your eyes closed, because some Buddhist techniques say you can also meditate while walking along. So I'm keeping that out of the equation. That you sit down, you close your eyes. So either you have an object, or you have breath, or you have a mantra, okay, or you have an image, okay. And within this, it's another matrix. One is with feeling, without feeling. For example, the mantra can be Om, or Ram Brahmasmi or whatever. There's a feeling. But transcendental meditation, for example, says it has to have no meaning, because otherwise you'll go into the contemplation. And that contemplation will get into Bhagwan and Meri Ichhaएं Puri Karo and whatnot. But there is one common denominator, that all techniques, as I said, have three things to different proportion. But the meditation technique, I think of all of them, is pretty similar. And they've made some of them have made really big enterprises out of something generic. You know,
Yeah.
That's what I feel.
Just a follow-up question. So you mentioned being at Isha and or even at the AOL ashram and so on. So obviously, when you are there, there is an ambience, and the whole thing is going to put you in that kind of a mindset during that time. Maybe it's 10 days, maybe it's a week. Were you able to follow that after that, right? So when that ambience has been removed and that environment is different at this point, you are in day-to-day life. You are dealing with situations. You are dealing with people, which was cut off in that particular, in those 10 days. Obviously, those 10 days were geared to make you sattvic. Everything was sattvic around you. But then that's not the case. We are mostly rajasic when we are having to deal with life in general. So what was your, did you get a sense that it was only then that you were able to experience that? But after, was it still the case?
So again, here, if we see in terms of the routine, morning routine and diet and the kind of food that they serve in the ashram, that part is not replicable. But the method element, I mean, if you're doing pranayama there, then you do the pranayama, at your home or in your car or, wherever you can, right? So that part, of course, did continue even when I came back. And that spending that time, whether it is with Sadhguru or, of course, Shri Ashram, I've not been lucky to spend time in Bangalore. But I think that the Maharshi and, both the Sadhguru Ashram it gave me that, critical, threshold of motivation to continue. But of course, I can't have the same type of food, same kind of routine. Yeah, so that part is definitely missing, which at least you guys are trying to do in Chaturmasa and all that, so that piece did not continue when I came back.
I have one more follow-up, and this could be for anyone in the group. I think a couple of weeks ago, someone posted a video of Jaddu Krishnamurti talking about, you don't need a guru, right? And I just want to get, of course, he was completely contradicting what we are talking about here, right? Maybe he meant you don't need a guru, but you need a guru. So can someone here explain, Rajiv or Rajesh, what did he really mean by that? And maybe I'm missing something. Yeah.
Alpana already clarified it, but she's raised her hand, so I'm sure she'll answer that.
Yeah. Okay, Alpana.
So I responded on the group itself as well. Actually, he says a statement before that. If you are established in yourself, you don't need a guru. Basically, so everyone ignores that first statement and just takes that part of saying you don't need a guru. He actually qualifies that statement, when you don't need a guru. So if you go back and listen to that again, actually that first part is very, very important. So if you are established in yourself, you don't need a guru, because what do you need the guru for? To know yourself. So if you have that, you don't need a guru. So it doesn't contradict. At least that's what I got from that YouTube, because I listened to it, because I was quite surprised when I heard somebody like J. Krishnamurti.
Yeah.
So he says that, but he qualifies it. If you yourself have, it almost says that you have found the guru within yourself, then you don't need an external guru. So this whole process is to actually find that internal guru. In fact, the guru is one who helps you find the guru within yourself. At the end of it, it is your internal voice which will guide you. Because no one can, I always give the example of, when you try to learn cycling, no one can teach you cycling. You have to get that balance yourself. Purpose of guru is the same. I have a guru as well, and I strongly believe in it. But his help is to find that inner voice, that inner guru in myself, which will be there always with me, guiding me.
I mean, I think there's a simpler reason why you need a guru than finding inner voice and all the rest. Of course, all that higher stuff. The simplest need is it just accelerates that process. The guru is like a ladder, and the ladder is helping you climb. So the guru is helping you climb through. It's a simpler, at least my simpler understanding of the need for a guru.
Absolutely,
like you
they
said,
know you. Yeah, they know you so much more than you know yourself, and the way they guide you, it's incomprehensible.
Yeah.
All right, last question. Anybody?
Sorry, I'm just kind of putting a clarification question to Alpana. Does it necessarily need to be a person? Because I don't know if we were discussing that in our Thursday sessions, was like, it can even be a cohort for deliberation to kind of get your doubts out and debate and discuss. Can that be also seen as a guru, or there has to be a person personified who has read more than you, who has read Upanishads? I don't know, I'm just thinking.
Okay, so,
In the future, it can be an artificial intelligence. Like an android, maybe. But yeah, sorry to interrupt.
I feel that this is Vidya. I feel that, Arun, that question you asked that it'll be a ladder, I somehow feel, why do you have to really speed up? The more you are not speeding up, you might understand better. Just a thought.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be, speed up. You can climb the ladder as slow and understand every step as well. But there is a ladder to help you climb. Is the point, right? And it's helpful to have that ladder, and the guru, forms that ladder for us.
If I add, like, if you're lost on the way, just finding your way out or finding a path out is where the guru helps you. Sometimes you're confused, lost, or struggling, or whatever, dealing with stress, anxiety, whatever it is that you are, having to deal with, and just to find a way out of that, the guru or whatever it be, the guru might be your friend with whom you can talk and who will show a way, or somebody knowledgeable, learned person who knows a lot, or it can be a book or whatever. That is my experience.
Yeah.
I think
It's just a support group. It's just a support person, I would say.
Okay, I'll just, if you allow me, I'd just like to answer very quickly to Shelly.
Rajiv, you will summarize that, and then we'll close this discussion for the day.
Fine. So I think we are taking guru in the very different kind of sense. What you're talking about is what I talked about, a cohort, and discussing your doubts and after sales service or whatever you call it, cohort. So and that can, and the different version. A next step of that is satsang. Satsang can be among you as equals, or it can be somebody who's slightly ahead. And then guru is somebody who bestows the technique, the method, handholds you, gives you place. So I think it's better to just look at in the hierarchy. Otherwise, even a life event can be a guru. I mean, there's no end. But we're talking in certain hierarchy. You have people to discuss doubts with. Then you have a satsang, and then you have the master. So I think, of course, even an event or a co-seeker can be your guru. But then here we are talking of guru as in the master. So that's a little different.
All right. Thank you so much, Rajiv. That was a brilliant presentation. And, thank you especially for Alpana and Shaili for staying awake so late. With that, we just chant Shanti Mantra thrice, and then we close the session.